Hey, welcome back to Leading Edge. So much interest and anxiety in the upcoming November election. So you want in? You going to take part? Well, I got to tell you, a couple of impending dates. I mean, like right now, we'll have a lot to say about whether you even get the chance. LaVera Scott, director of the Lucas County Board of Elections, a veteran of these matters. Good to have you back on again. It's been a long time. First up, folks, you can't vote if you're not registered. And LaVera, our first big date of consequence it's right upon us. It's this Monday. It's October 5th, the last day to register. I think I heard by 9 p.m. How does one do that?
Yes, our office will actually be open until 9 p.m. So you can either complete your registration, put it in our drop box outside, or you can bring it to our office. Building management is aware that we are open until 9 p.m. on Monday.
Can they register online?
You can register online. You can do it from the privacy of your home. You can go to our website or the state's website, Secretary of State's website specifically, because there are some third-party entities that have similar-looking websites. Okay. So I always want to tell people, literally go to the Ohio Secretary of State's website or the Lucas County Board of Elections website if you're in our county. Okay. And you can register online or update and change your address.
All right. Shouldn't everybody also be, maybe everybody, be checking to make sure they are registered? I'm thinking of the people who say, well, yeah, I voted. When's the last time you voted? Well, I voted for Jimmy Carter. I mean, isn't there a chance if you have been kind of on the sidelines, you're no longer registered?
Yes, and that's very important. When there are voter maintenance occurs, every 2 years, and then it goes back to look at that history for the previous 4 years. So if you have not, I've had some people that have not voted since even 2008. If you have not voted since, 2008, a lot of people came out during that election. If you have not voted at all during that time, you're probably not registered anymore. So you can also go to our website to see if you're registered. You can also go to look up your current polling location. And if you just can't, get onto a computer, you can always call our office and they'll be glad to look you up to let you know if you're registered as well.
The very next day then, Tuesday, October 6th, also significant. What happens on that day?
That's the first day of absentee voting. That means absentee by mail. That's the first day we will be mailing absentee ballots. And it is also the first day for voting in person at the early vote center. And that's across the state of Ohio. So a lot of people have called and said, I sent in my ballot application a long time ago, or they're emailing us. They want to know why they haven't received their ballot yet. Because statutorily by law, ballots cannot be mailed until October 6th.
All right. So folks, you signed up, as my wife and I did. We got the Secretary of State's thing, sent it back in, said, yep, send us our ballots. They can't go out, but will go out October 6th, Tuesday. Okay. Now, LaVera Scott, she's the director down at the Board of Elections. I've requested a mail-in ballot. Okay. I get that. Then I show up at my polling place November 3rd and say, hey, I want to vote. How does that poll worker know whether or not I have voted by mail?
Well, with our registration system, it is also tied to our absentee system. That is the database that is used in the polling locations. We must make sure that anyone that has requested an absentee, that has to show up on their voter record. Yeah. So when you go to vote at the polling location, it's going to show in the electronic poll book that you've requested an absentee. It's no different than it used to do in the paper book.
So will I be allowed to vote that day then?
You will only be able to vote provisionally. And the Secretary of State, that's been that way for many years. Okay. But they did send out a new directive reiterating that fact. Directive just came out this week reminding us and reminding boards of elections that if people have requested an absentee ballot, that on election day, they must vote provisionally. If by some reason they come to vote at the early vote center, say I requested an absentee ballot and you've processed my absentee ballot application during the absentee voting period, which is the key thing people need to understand. The absentee voting period ends the day before the election. On election day, you're no longer in the absentee voting period. If I come into the early vote center and bring my ballot and say, hey, I really would rather vote on the machine here today, you will be allowed to do that. They will soil your first transaction. Once again, they have to do that in a computer, and they will allow you to vote in the early vote center.
There's been so much talk about mail-in ballots and fraud. Why shouldn't I be worried? How can you guarantee the election will be free and fair?
Well, there are safeguards we've had in place for many, many years, and anyone that's ever worked for the Board of Elections in any form, whether it's Ohio, which with canvassing or any of those things, know everything that we do here, we do in bipartisan teams that affect the ballot, whether it is even the opening of the ballots itself. We have to do that in bipartisan teams. There's a Democrat and a Republican sitting there, processing that one ballot. At the time we scan ballots, is done in bipartisan teams. When we go to the drop box with ballots in it, it's bipartisan teams. When we pick up the mail from the post office, it's bipartisan teams. When we take the mail, it's bipartisan teams. So that is to ensure that there's always integrity in the elections.
All
It's not so much of you not necessarily trusting the other person, but we have to make sure that we follow those guidelines.
right. Drop boxes. How many do we have in Lucas County?
We still, in Lucas County and the other counties, have one.
One. All right. I'm going to leave it right there for right now, I believe. There's going to be more to talk about. I'd like to stay in touch with you guys. I'm just a nut on everybody who is legally eligible to vote, should vote, and they should be counted accurately and correctly. You guys do a great job. Thanks for spending time with us, LaVera Scott. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll be glad to talk again.
Yeah, I look forward to it. It's going to be a busy time, as you guys well know.
Exactly.
I'm an old retiree. They're the ones that are busy. Hey, thanks, LaVera. We'll talk again. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all of you as well for spending time with us each and every week right here on Leading Edge. Remember, register to vote by Monday night, 9 o'clock. Make sure you are registered. And then you can early vote starting Tuesday. And that's when, if you requested a ballot, that's when they'll be mailed. Stay healthy. Have a great week. See you next week on Leading Edge.